Welcome to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Now here along with Dr. Bonati, your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Well, thank you for joining us for American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by our executive producer, Ethan Euchre.
Glad to be here as always.
And as well, we're happy to have our senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff, here.
And I'm happy to be had. Happy to be had with my mic on.
And across from me, world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. Thank you for sharing your time with us, sir.
I'm happy to.
You don't look very happy.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
you do.
very
Wait,
happy.
he's smiling.
Yes.
He has such a straight face, and even my mother, who watches the program, was like, he's not that serious.
Yeah.
Only in surgery, so he should smile. More
because
pleasant.
I'm doing surgery here.
He's not going to smile.
You guys are mutilating me.
Oh, boy.
He's such the prankster. You'd never know. Every week we talk about the amazing things that the Bonati Spine Institute accomplishes, and that's all because of this gentleman across from me, world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati. He broke away from those textbook teachings, and he really wanted to find true patient resolve of pain. And what he was finding when he went through traditional open back surgery is people suffered with high failure rates, and that bothered him. So he set out and he discovered and he patented his own procedures and the instrumentation to perfect his procedures. And those procedures that we're talking about are the Bonati spine procedures, and Bonati succeeds where others fail. We have a 98.75% patient-reported satisfaction rate, and that's over the last 7.5 years. So that's just amazing. So
Incredible.
Congratulations to you, sir. Coming up on the program, we have Jack Kalowski, Moffitt Cancer Center. Apparently was dropped from the Obamacare exchange, and he's going to be on to chat about that.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, and I'm sure Doc will get in on this as well, that Moffitt, if people don't know, the Moffitt Cancer Center is one of, if not the premier cancer care centers in the nation. And they were dropped from United Healthcare's Obamacare exchange. It's
Good, very good.
Why is that good?
I love it.
All right, well, we'll get into it.
So in that way,
good
they
and
can,
bad.
Good. In that way, they can have really good insurance covering them and doing good things for the patients.
Well, we'll talk more about that later. And then we have U.S. Congressman David Jolly on, and he's going to talk about the proposed Patient Freedom Act to combat Obamacare video on the proposal. So
essentially what David Jolly's bill proposed is going to basically just to rid the mandate that the penalization part of that. So it wouldn't cost you money if you don't sign up for Obamacare. Yeah. So whether it gets passed or not remains to be seen, but we'll talk to
I would love for it to get passed.
Congressman Jolly about that.
Yeah, can't wait to talk to him there. But up first,
Well, let's bring him back
In
here and
today's-
ask the question.
Say that again, Doc.
Let's bring him back here and ask the question.
We're going to.
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
well, up first, we have Pastor Charles Neiman, and he's calling in from El Paso, Texas. So thank you for joining us, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And hello, Dr. Bonati.
Hey, how are you, Pastor?
I'm doing well.
What are you doing? You learned to speak Spanish now?
No, not yet.
No habla español.
No comprende.
Well, why don't you tell us about how you found out about the Bonati Institute, but what led you to seek the Bonati Spine Institute? How
kind of
you came
pain?
to be in pain? Was it something that was genetic? Were you in an accident? Why don't you kind of take it from there?
Yeah, I had problems on and off for many years. I had, back when I was 40, which was 25 years ago, I went through, I guess, what I would call standard orthopedic back surgery.
Okay.
I was, in my terminology, I'd say I had a ruptured disc, and so I had that, and recovered. I was one of the. My original doctor told me, it's 30, 30, 30. Mm-hmm. 30 get better, 30 stay the same, 30 get worse. Well, thankfully, I was in the first 30.
Okay.
So I functioned well with that. And then about 6 years ago, I started having just incredible sciatic pain in my sciatic nerve. I'd say on the best days, I was living with maybe a 5 or a 6 pain level. On the worst days, I was at an 8 or a 9. I would drive from my house to my office to my church, and it's about a 20-minute drive. And there were many days I really thought I was going to have to pull the car over and get out of the car. The pain was so bad. I heard about the Bonati Institute kind of through a roundabout way. A friend of mine who is a member of my church went to a seminar that the Bonati Institute was doing at a hotel here in El Paso. He didn't go because he was in pain. He's just a very curious guy, and he loves to get new information. So he just went and sat through the seminar and then told me about it because he knew I'd had pain before. And it was just kind of getting information. And then, years later, my son-in-law began to experience incredible pain in his upper neck, his shoulders, just terrible pain. And he went and talked to various surgeons around the country. And I kept encouraging him, let's check out the Bonati Institute. And so he eventually went down, had some surgeries, and now, 6 or 7 years later, he's living an incredible life, no pain. And then my son went down and had some surgeries and eventually had a couple more. And then I went because of this pain. And so it was kind of a roundabout way that I ended up at the Bonati Institute.
I was going to say, look at how selfless Pastor Charles is, because he mentions everybody else before he gets to himself.
I didn't do it on purpose. It's just the way it worked out.
But what was that process like for you once you finally came to the Bonati Spine Institute?
Well, I got there. My wife and my son went with me, and we arrived and found, first of all, that all of the people that I dealt with, from the man in the room, the first man security guy, gentleman I met in the front, Paul, just great guy, and then, Sandy, and just everyone, Dr. Hershire, and then, of course, when I met Dr. Bonati, he came in the room, he looked like $1 million, this beautiful suit and smiling, and, and I just hit it off with him, and they checked all my things, and had an MRI, and one thing I really loved was that the day after the MRI, I came in, and Dr. Bonati started to tell Dr. Bonati what my symptoms were, and he said, "Let me tell you what they are, and let's see if I get them right." And he looked at my MRI, and he began to tell me, without me telling him, where my pain was and what my things were. And I'll be honest with you, I just sat there and I thought, man, I have come to the right place. There's no doubt in my mind. He's telling me where my pain is because of his experience, and I was like, man, can we do this today? I'm ready to feel better.
All right. So from the initial consultation with Dr. Bonati and the MRIs, let's go to the actual procedure itself. Do you remember the whole thing? It's a conscious IV sedation where you're awake and aware, able to talk back and forth with the doctor. Did you watch on the screen the procedure itself?
Well, they had the screen on, but I am highly sensitive to anesthesia, so just the least little, Dr. Hershire kept saying, I give you the minimum amount, and you're like out, you know. So I would go to sleep pretty quick. But, yes, I was conscious of it. And I also was aware of, what went on because of my son's experience and my son-in-law's experience. They had told me that, they would, I guess the term that I remember Dr. Hershire using was that they bring you back. You're kind of out and they bring you back. And I always found that I liked that a lot because I liked Dr. Bonati's concept that he works on you and then when the pain stops, he's done. He doesn't keep doing the surgery. It was not like a and I don't mean this derogatorily, I'm just the way I would describe it. It wasn't like a cookie cutter procedure.
You're
it was
correct.
Like it was personalized to me,
Every single
to
one
my
is.
body.
Yeah, exactly. So you were communicating back and forth with Dr. Bonatti. How quickly did you experience relief of your pain?
Well, to be honest with you, and I know this sounds fantastic, but I felt immediate change that day. I was like on cloud nine, and Dr. Hirschauer said to me, and Dr. Bonatti said to me, that part of that was the anesthesia and the pain stuff for the surgery, but I could tell an immediate difference, and my pain levels went from, as I said, 8 and 9 down to where they were virtually non-existent, and then over the next few weeks, I just began to experience a life without pain, and it was and still is. I think I had my procedures 4 or 5 years ago. Has been really a godsend to me.
Excellent.
It has just been a great blessing in my life.
Well, Pastor Charles, we actually have Dr. Bonatti here if you'd like to say anything to him personally.
Oh, Doctor, I just want to thank you personally. Once again, I thanked you several times when I was there at the clinic, and I just want to thank you again for, what you've learned and what you've done, and that you've made it available to all of us. And I'll keep sending my friends down there. I've sent quite a few, and I'll keep sending more.
Thank you, Pastor. I know that you send your family first, just to scout a little bit.
A little recon, testing the waters. All right.
Just a joke. A bad joke, but just a joke.
Continued good health to you, Pastor Neiman.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks
thank
a
you for
lot.
sharing your story. We truly appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
I cut him off, my bad.
Oh, but these stories, they never get old, and they're always so heartfelt. And you hear it here. He's referred so many people. He was a patient himself, and family, if you or someone you know is suffering in pain, have heard there's nothing that can be done for you. That may not be the case, and definitely seek out a consultation with the Bonatti Spine Institute. 855-267-0483 or visit Bonatti.com. Coming up after the break, we have Jack Kalowski from Moffitt Cancer Center. He's going to talk about how they were dropped from the Obamacare exchange. We'll see you after the break. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonatti Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonatti spine procedures, Alfred Bonatti, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonatti and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for listening to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre, Jeff Wagstaff, and world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonatti of the Bonatti Spine Institute. Well, on this segment, we have Jack Kalowski from Moffitt Cancer Center. Apparently, Moffitt Cancer Center was recently dropped from United Healthcare's Obamacare exchange and some others. So we have him on the show to discuss what's happening.
Well, and to clarify, and how you doing, Jack? Welcome to the show.
Good. Thank you.
And to clarify, for people that don't understand, the enormity of this, Moffitt Cancer Center is one of, if not the premier cancer treatment centers in the nation. I mean, they lead the way in cancer treatment. So must have come to you guys as a shock that you're going to be dropped from United Healthcare, correct, Jack?
Well, it was a disappointment, but just to clarify, we were dropped from the Medicare Advantage program with United. And I guess the good news is we're still in many of the, most of the Obamacare exchange programs. But yes, it was a disappointment for us, and we're sorry they came to that conclusion, but I think we're doing just fine without it.
Mr. Kalowski, the simple question is, why did they drop an institution like Moffitt?
You know, that's a good question, and I'm sure you could try and ask them. What we were told is that they decided to drop organizations that they felt were costing more money than what they thought it should be. The truth is that both our outcomes are better, which they certainly would agree with. And when we asked them to take a different look at that cost information, which is to really look at it on a cost for the episode of care, the fact is that Moffitt is very competitive in that respect. So it really is not clear to us. And the fact that other insurers have done well and kept us in their programs, you know, we would hope that United would reconsider that decision.
Here's what where it gets me is that, you know, the lie of the year last year was President Obama saying if you like your plan or your doctor, you can keep your plan or your doctor. That turned out to be a lie. And I'm reading some statistics here, Jack, saying that these cuts meant that 2,500 cancer patients at Moffitt being treated would have to either switch plans or find other doctors. Has that turned out to be the case?
Yes, and actually, so many of them switched to other plans that were offered by such places as Florida Blue and Humana and such, and so I believe that the United enrollments went down. So it really is not clear to us why they did that sort of thing, but I think overall we're still able to serve most of the patients that we were able to serve before. They just had to switch plans.
Unbelievable.
Mr.
You got it.
I have a question. I really think why we need to depend on help of the government or in this type of governmental intrusions in medicine. I understand the need for the Moffitt Center right now because they are going to be in a situation of a cut down some income. But you know, we need to start to think in solutions that are not depending on insurance companies or on governmental help. The situation with medicine today is we need to practice medicine, but we need to be solvent economically, so we can dedicate our time to the patients with our heart and our desires to help them. And if we continue trying to get the government to give us money and the insurance companies to work with us, and we cow to these type of situations all the time, Moffitt Center can be totally independent without really getting any help from the government. And yes, in the beginning is going to be a little bit of a conflict, but you know something? There are going to be people paying for the services that they are going to be with the different type of insurance. We can create, doctors and hospitals can create insurance companies that they are totally independent of this type of a nightmare that happens every time that we have a new election. Every time you have an election, you have a distress in medicine because the politicians and the government constantly is trying to lie to the people. And then the next thing that happens is we have a situation like this. We need to stop this. We need to say we don't need you, and we need to look for a different type of an arrangement that they are definitive. Doctors can help. The system can create an insurance company that's totally independent. Am I wrong, Jack?
Well, Dr. Bonatti, I think that we certainly strongly believe in the free market. And we think that the idea of free market competition, being transparent about rates and outcomes and costs are a very important thing, and that will get us to some of the solutions that you talk about. Because I think that when you look at it that way, Moffitt, and there's many others, do just fine in a comparative manner that way. And I do like the idea of reaching out, for example, in our case, directly to employers and working with them without any government support.
Correct.
To do insurance programs. The only thing I'd say is that there are a lot of people that we see that don't have insurance. And to me, the idea, and can't afford insurance. They are good, hardworking people, but just couldn't simply afford any sort of insurance before. Quite frankly, it might not have been available to them before. So I think the idea that we expand insurance coverage is something not just Moffitt, but many organizations support. But that's a different discussion. I think the idea of free market competition and transparency is a good thing for hospitals and healthcare, and something we strongly support.
All right, Jack. Well, we're up against the clock. I know Doc could probably sit here and talk to you for another 10, 15 minutes, but we are out of time. Again, Moffitt Cancer Center, one of the premier cancer centers in the country. What's your guys' website, moffitt.org?
Yes, Moffitt.org, and certainly we have a lot of information on there, how to become a patient, about our outcomes, about a lot of things cancer-related, and we'd certainly welcome people to look at us.
All right, Moffitt with 2 F's and 2 T's.org. Jack Kolowski, Executive VP and COO of Moffitt Cancer Center. Thanks for joining us on American Medicine Today, sir.
Great, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
All right.
I mean, some of the other stuff here, as far as statistics, they were saying over 214,000 doctors voluntarily will not participate in these Obamacare exchanges, and that number is going to be increasing. So it's just crazy.
Well, that is the solution.
Right. But for time's sake on radio, we need to take a break. So if you or someone you know is suffering with back, neck, or sciatic pain, reach out to the Bonatti Spine Institute, 855-267-0483. Coming up after the break, you'll hear more.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti Spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti Spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for continuing to listen to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by our executive producer, Ethan Euchre.
Here as always.
Our senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff.
Present and accounted for.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute.
Hello.
On the line, we're excited. We have our friend, U.S. Congressman David Jolly. He is on the line to talk about repealing the penalty of Obamacare for those that don't sign up. Apparently, there's a huge penalty tax. And
yeah, it's like $95, I think, for this year, but then going into next year, it's supposed to increase to $325. And Congressman Jolly has come up with something he's called the Patient Freedom Act. First off, appreciate you joining us, Congressman Jolly. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about this bill and what it means.
Well, listen, this is about as simple as it gets to ensuring that individuals and patients have the freedom to choose the level of health care coverage that is right for them.
Okay.
It is a 2-page bill that simply repeals the individual mandate. As you mentioned, the individual mandate is the provision that creates the penalties for those who would choose to have health care coverage that the federal government says is insufficient. I think the American people are smart enough to know what coverage is right for them. I also know we can't expect the president to repeal his entire signature of legislative achievement. But this is one area where the president and the Congress can look out for the interest of the American people and say, you get to choose your health care.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah,
it's about time that somebody start to put some stop to this nightmare.
David, isn't there some...
Here's the beauty of it. This bill is 2 pages. You know the jokes about when Nancy Pelosi said, let's just pass the bill and then we'll know what's in it?
Then you'll find out.
Every member of Congress can know what's in this bill before we vote on it. It's 2 pages long.
2 pages.
Perfect.
That's
David,
how it should be.
Is there still not some question, though, if that mandate is constitutional the way it's written to begin with?
Well, so listen, I don't believe it's constitutional. That has been my number one concern about Obamacare from the very beginning, is the individual mandate I believe is unconstitutional. Now, the Supreme Court, by a 5-4 decision, decided otherwise. They decided it was constitutional under the taxing authority. So they essentially have identified Obamacare and the individual mandate penalties as a new tax, just for you. And so the Supreme Court has decided otherwise. Interestingly, though, the Supreme Court's going to bring up a case here in the next few months about the federal exchanges existing in states that haven't created their own. And if they choose to invalidate federal exchanges in more than about 20 states, I believe, that could begin the unraveling of what we know as Obamacare.
What are the fundamental differences? Because Obama likes to tout, Mitt Romney tried this and it was extremely successful in Massachusetts. What are the prime differences between Obamacare and what Mitt Romney did? Because Romney's worked and Obamacare is not. So,
and that's what Democrats like to say too, is
right.
that, Mitt Romney's a staunch Republican and he had the same exact thing.
But it's not.
Right. So what are the differences?
Well, and listen, here's one thing I'm not going to do is defend Obamacare or any of the principles in Obamacare that were in Romneycare. And here's why. If you look at a private plan, there's a small company in Pinellas County that I know very well with about 50 employees. Their health care coverage continues to skyrocket because one of the principles of Obamacare is that everybody subsidizes everybody else. So here's a perfect example. If you're a male between 21 and 30 working for this employer, your health care next year is going to go up 150% a month more. Wow. So you might be paying $140 in premiums now. You're going to be paying just a little over $300.
Right.
Why is that? Because this is government-run economics. The cost of higher patient groups, demographically, are going to get brought down so they're equitable with those of the young and healthy. Now, you can make that argument, and you can say that's a political philosophy, and it certainly is of the president, but it's not mine.
We have so many governmental intrusion in medicine, and every time that there's an election or something like that, the first thing that comes in the first line is healthcare. I really think physicians, once for all, they need to start to put together a type of a program that healthcare cannot be touched, needs to be decided by physicians, needs to be decided by what is right in the insurance company. I understand that some people will not have insurance, but you know something? I remember that when people came to the hospital in the past, they stay a week in the hospital or 2 weeks in the hospital, the time that they required to get better, and was no complaints from the doctor, was no complaints from the hospital, and was done by free. So we need to start to organize the system where the physician will say, okay, we'll serve X amount of population for free, and we will do it in the practice, and we'll do it in the hospital, so we'll do it in this type of a system will immediately clear the people who doesn't have insurance and help them. But we need to stop that every time that we come over, somebody comes with a new idea in a new law against the doctors, against the patients, and then later on we need to spend trillions of dollars to fix all this misery, and at the same time patients suffer. The whole system is disrupted.
Right. Listen, Washington has this hobby. They like to define a problem for you. They like to define a crisis for you to justify tinkering with a system that's already working. If you consider before Obamacare was passed, I personally don't believe we had a health care coverage crisis in the country.
Exactly.
Did we have areas that needed improvement? Sure. And the issue that Republicans, my fellow Republicans, need to be honest about is the issue of pre-existing conditions. Frankly, there is a safety net at one point that only the government can step in and provide. We should recognize that for those truly with pre-existing conditions to which no coverage is available or affordable. But beyond that, we did not have a crisis in coverage that required the president to take up health care and dramatically change something that was otherwise the best system in the world.
Well, I also feel like there was a big problem, though, because Obamacare touted, this is backed by doctors and we have the AMA. Well, guess what? The AMA only represents a marginal portion of doctors, not the real physicians.
More than that, AMA right now is constituted by family physicians. Family physicians, they are going to like this program. Because what happened is the family physicians are going to be practically the goalkeepers of the healthcare. And then what they are going to destroy is what in this country is unique in the world. Practically the American citizen if they go and they have any type of ailment, they have an eye problem, or they have a joint problem, or they have an abdominal problem, they look for the specialty or for the specialist in the yellow pages, and they go to that doctor. So they have the specialist on their hands. Behind that specialist is another group of individuals that they are the industry, who help that specialist to create new tools, new advances, and new ideas. So the American medical advance is based on the specialties. It's not being advanced by the family physicians, and the family physicians are going to get in bed with the pharmaceutical industry. So what happened, there are going to be a tremendous amount of drugs being dispersed all over the country, and the people is going to be taking medication for problems that need to be surgically treated. At the same time, they are using terminology that is very insulting to the physicians. Any one of these people who is in command, they may have 3 or 4 years of training. A physician needs around 20 years before really that individual is productive, and they are calling him a
medical provider.
A medical provider. Right. What an insult! And physicians are just taking that garbage and don't doing anything. It's amazing that they tolerate all this insult. I mean, who's the medical provider? A nurse, or a physician assistant, or a nurse practitioner?
Is ultimately, it seeks to standardize healthcare based on price points that the government approves, not based on the needs of the patient and the decisions of the doctors.
Exactly.
And that is why less government in healthcare is actually patient-centered and best for the patient.
Yeah, physicians need to start to stand up once for all. They should stop to be cowards behind their MD degree. They think they're safe. They are not. What is going to happen in the next 10 years, if we don't stop that one, there are going to be people being trained as an MD with 1 or 2 years of training at the university, because that's what the socialistic countries do. They train physicians at a very low level. They block the whole system, and there are people there that they are not capable to do surgery. They are practically individuals of family physicians.
Right. So the quality of care is actually going to go.
It's gone. Yeah.
Which was everyone's fear when we started talking about the so-called Affordable Health Care Act, that it would be based on price point and the quality of care would go down. David, we just had Jack Kalowski from Moffitt Cancer Center on the air with us, who told us that they are being dropped from some aspects of Obamacare because of price point.
That's exactly right. So you can go to the provision that provides for the Independent Payment Advisory Board, for the failure of Congress and the President to agree on a fix to the SGR rates, or the doc fix as people know it. The more the government tries to set and control prices, as well as it dictates standards, the patient loses, the physicians lose, and we lose what has been the greatest healthcare system in the world, because it pushes expertise out of the system.
Well, Congressman Jolly, before we let you go, we're almost out of time. Doc, you got something?
Well, I just want to say something. I really appreciate very much what you are doing. This is exactly why the politicians should start to dismantle all this thing. But these microphones are at your service anytime that you need, because this type of a voice is the one that we need to constantly, from the medical point of view, we need to protect and we need to train.
There's one message on this bill that I want everybody to know.
Okay.
It says, very simply, and you will recognize this phrase, if you like your Obamacare, you can keep your Obamacare. But if you believe that you want to make decisions other than what the government has approved for you, then you should be empowered, you should be entrusted, and you should be enabled to make your own health care coverage decisions. If you like Obamacare, you can enter the exchange. But if not, you get to choose what's right for you.
And I like that.
Amen.
Patient Freedom Act. Thank you, Congressman Jolly. We truly appreciate
Give him hell up there, David.
There you go.
Hey, thank you all. Have a good day. I appreciate
you too.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Great man right there.
Absolutely.
Fighting
Really
for us.
enjoy him. Well, you are listening to American Medicine Today. And if you or someone you know is suffering with neck, back, or sciatic pain, reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute, 855-267-0483, or visit Bonati.com. Hey, if you have a Twitter account, tweet at Dr. Bonati or hashtag AMT. Coming up after the break, well, actually, this is our last.
We're gonna
we have
find
what's
out.
new.
That's
What's
what we're
new
gonna-
in American medicine today. And did you just see Doc's face? Not only that, but maybe we'll do a little bit of Barack's crock. Stay tuned.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now, I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brummel.
Thanks for continuing to listen to American Medicine Today. I am Kimberly Brummel, joined by our executive producer, Ethan Euchre.
Oh, man. If people, again, we say it all the time, if they were only aware.
We have to get this camera thing on because we stream live in case you're only listening via radio. We stream live, and we should have it open and running during the commercial break.
If only I could say what Doc just did to me. It was good stuff.
He had a little something for you.
Give me 5 on the side, up high, too slow.
Essentially.
It was something almost like that. Anyway, with that said, something like that. We have senior fellow Jeff Wagstaff here, and across from me, world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati of the esteemed Bonati Spine Institute.
Senior cell. Senior fellow.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
He looked like a really senior fellow.
So what are you saying? I look old?
No.
You look like a fellow. Hi, fellow.
Just remember, sitting here behind this
fellow.
microphone, 175 pounds of screaming steel and sex appeal.
Good Lord.
You know, I have the world's best job. I am surrounded.
That's how they use in Chicago. They put them in the water.
Now, we're getting off track, but really, I have 4 of the greatest gentlemen that I do this radio show with. And the one that is hardly mentioned, but you don't see him, is John Gaston over here of WeBeam TV. And that's how we are streaming everything.
You wouldn't see us without John.
That's true. Well, I understand Doc is completely wound up.
He is.
And he's ready to find out.
No, I'm not.
You're not?
No.
I thought you were.
I am.
You looked
What's
ready.
stirring?
Now it's time to see what Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, President Obama, and the Democrats have simmering in Washington, D.C. Let's see what's cooking in Barack's crock.
I'm so sad.
Why are you sad, Doc?
Because very soon all these people that we talk bad about, they're going to disappear.
Yeah, but you should be happy
one can
when that
dream.
happens, right?
No,
Right?
then we would not have anybody to just abuse.
See, I've always wondered, as someone who is relatively new to listening, the past 5 years to talk radio, news talk radio, conservative talk radio, who did Rush and Hannity and Beck and all of them, who did they have to bash when Bush was in office? Because they didn't have an Obama. So was everything honky-dory, or... No, John shaking his head.
Those Democrats in Congress.
Still, even though they were the Republicans were in the seat of power.
Yeah, but come on, Pelosi's been there forever.
That's true.
Harry Reid's been there
around
forever.
a long time.
Yeah.
But I think you should be happy once, hopefully, we can get Obama out of office and get somebody from the GOP in there.
You might see him with
2 more
smirk
years. 2 more
his
years.
face.
2 more years will go by like that.
Needs to be sooner.
We won't have anybody to bitch about.
We'll find somebody, though.
Yeah. Well, Doc, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
Well, we
need
had
to
Congressman Jolly just on.
But, what an incredible move.
Yes.
I think for the first time we'll start to see something that is effective. I hope all the medical society put an effort on help his ideas and his concept to protect medicine. And it's absolutely necessary to have people with that quality
Two-page document.
Yeah,
2 pages.
And to recap, if you're just joining us, what we're talking about is we had U.S. Congressman David Jolly in. He's a Republican out of Florida. Has introduced a bill called the Patient Freedom Act, which is basically, he can't personally repeal Obamacare, but this helps. And if it goes through, it's going to repeal the tax on it, the penalty mandate. So it's a good start, in my opinion.
Well, if you start to put a situation like that, one after the other one, start to remove one mandate, another mandate, then suddenly that thing is going to be worthless.
It's like Jenga.
Yeah.
You pull out little pieces and it'll all
tumble.
collapse.
And, it's just amazing to see that.
Great analogy.
That's a great analogy.
It is.
Thank you. Go ahead, Doc. Sorry.
Keep going.
No.
This is your forum. Jeff and I are just being peanut gallery over here.
Keep being the peanut gallery.
No, we're just saying that it's a great start that somebody's stepping up to the plate and coming up with these bills that hopefully is going to pick apart, like you said,
we need
Obamacare.
to start to see who is the other people who's participating in the same system.
Correct.
We need to start to bring that knowledge on radio and television, so we can have some information from other politicians that they are doing something similar, or they have ideas.
Right.
So maybe what we need to do is ask David Jolly to give us to get other people to give us more information of what is the next step and how they can derail all this misery.
But you're talking politicians. I mean, other doctors. On our previous show, we had a doctor from St. Joseph's Hospital, and they were discussing that, off camera, and we'll have her back, but that these doctors are not happy with Obamacare. There's so much wrong with it, and it's just so wrought with problems that things need to be resolved. So I'm glad at least a congressman is stepping up to the plate and at least leading the way in that effort to try to get things overturned.
Absolutely.
If you start to see right now the force that is behind your statement, you have around maybe 280,000 physicians that they are probably all specialties.
Yes.
That they are going to go and they are not going to participate in Obamacare. So if you have that force, and if we double that force with some information like that, the Obamacare cannot perform.
Yes.
Here's what gets me, Doc, and maybe you can shed some light on it, is that we've had other physicians on the show that they would voice their
disdain,
opposition and disdain to Obamacare off air,
yes.
but they didn't want it. They would strictly say, I don't want to talk about it on the air. Why is there fear behind that? Why are some afraid to stand up like you do and openly talk against Obamacare?
Because physicians are being trained to it's like when you train in a medical program, it's like a military training. You do have a commander officer, and the majority of these physicians, they were trained like that in every program that we participate. I mean, if you go in medical, in internal medicine, you have a chief resident, and then you have a chairman, and you need to maintain that type of a status in every one of these trainings. So when you finish, you are already accustomed to respect those levels of categories of power, and suddenly, when you start to fight a situation like this, and you start to talk about the president, and you talk about congressmen, they don't understand how to do it.
Right.
So what you need to do is you need to open your mouth till they start to be a little bit more free and start to be more aggressive, and then suddenly they will participate.
We need to be more American, I think.
Well, it is, but there's also a fear because anytime you talk out about this current administration, you're immediately called a racist, a bigot, an elitist. And this is what they try to do in an effort to destroy. I know you have a lot more to say, but we have to wrap it up.
One second. Let me tell you this. So what?
I know.
Call me whatever you want to call me.
You know what? I agree with you because it's for the betterment of the people. And with that said, we have some new stations that we want to say hello to in Punta Gorda and Naples. So, Jeff?
We want to welcome the people in Punta Gorda listening to News Radio 1580 WCCF, and just a little farther south down the beautiful coast of Florida, the people at Naples listening to Naples FM Talk 98.9. Welcome to American Medicine Today.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you.
That's it.
Well, if you or someone you know is suffering with back, neck, or sciatic pain, reach out. There is true patient resolve and hope with the Bonati Spine Institute. They'll get you back in motion. You can reach out at 855-267-0483. Or you can visit Bonati.com. That's Doc not listening to the turn off your ringer on your cell phone. But regardless, if you have a Twitter account, you can tweet at Dr. Bonati or a hashtag American Medicine Today. We are on Bloomberg. Try to look for us on your local listings, Saturdays and Sundays, and here locally, WFTS ABC 28. We'll see you next week.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati Spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.